Hello! I've been getting a lot of questions lately about my fossil hunting trips. So, where I go is at the Chesapeake Bay. And the Chesapeake Bay are surrounded by these huge big blue cliffs. Most of them are blue, some of them are red. Big cliffs of old sediment made up from old sea and bay beds. Animals, fish, turtles, all sorts of marine life would die and fall into this really fine, dense blue silt and have wonderfully preserved fossils. So these are things that I found within the past few days. I just got back from a trip. These are mostly bits of bones from things like porpoises, whales, turtles. Most of these little pieces are just fragments of big bones. You can't really tell what most of them are. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. You can't really tell what most of them are, or even what they're from, but you can kind of guess where they're from, judging by, and my camera won't let me zoom in, judging by the size of the marrow. Like, this is easy to tell that it's from something like big like a whale. This is a piece of rib, and the ribs come in two halves, almost like a sandwich. So this is the inside, where the marrow would be. You can see all those little pores, and this would be the outside, and then there'd be another half coming out about like right about there. So, I dropped one. These are all drying out because they can be pretty fragile when they're damp. So I gotta clean these up and put them where they need to go. Sometimes you find, little boring things like coral. I'm not very interested in coral, but it looks nice. This is from an unfortunate kitty. Not really a fossil yet, but it was interesting. So I brought that home. I found that on the beach. Let's see. We have little bits of fragments. This you can see. This is the inside of a bone. They usually come in halves like this, and it goes a little deeper in there where your marrow would go. We have over in this pile. This is the top of a disc from a vertebrae. This would be kind of the top of the bone, and the spongy part, which this is only a fourth of it, obviously it's a circle. This kind of area would be on top of the bone, cushioning it from whatever activity this probably a small whale or a porpoise would be doing. So, and what are you? You're not what I want. Right, this kind of thicker piece is that kind of cushion, but thicker. This is probably from like near a tail kind of a thing. These bones are anywhere from 35 to 5 million years old. They go from the Miocene, which is a bit more recent than the Pliocene. They sound a lot alike, but there's a big difference in age. This is a badly damaged but still pretty cool whale vertebrae. I can only really do this with one hand, but vertebrae have two projections out the side, that do this, and then they have this big long one that's connected by these two that form an arch. They go up like this. So this is a bit damaged. I found this in a boulder from the cliff. It was already pretty broken down because it fell from the cliff, from who knows how high. You can't dig in the Calvert County cliffs because you're not, it's illegal to do so, mostly for safety reasons, because the cliffs are always falling down, houses are always falling down, trees are always falling down, and sometimes they fall on people who dig in them. So it's a no-no. So everything you find, it has to be either on the ground or on the shore or in a boulder that's rolled far away from the cliff. This is a fish bone, a fish vertebrae. Looks a lot different from the mammal ones. As you can imagine, if you've ever seen a fish skeleton, there's a lot more chambers and holes because, that's how fish work. This is cool. This is a turtle's shoulder blade. Most of these other things are little bits. Here's some more little mammalian vertebrae, kind of beat up, but I think they're cool all the same. So these are all drying, and when they're dry I'll clean them up and I'll put them in the big bone bucket of just miscellaneous bits, which is the big thing. Little bones that are just from pieces of animal. Not really identifiable, but they're still cool. I put them in there. The big bones We'll get to you later. I put in this box. These are bones that are too big to fit anywhere else, or that I don't have on display. This is a very exciting cardboard box. So in here we have things that I've taken or found. Most of these, because they're so big, I found in rolled off boulders from the cliffs, because you can't obviously dig in the cliff. This is a very large piece of the end piece of a whale rib. These things get many feet long, obviously, because they're a whale, but this is the end piece, as you can see. And here we have the 2 layers, and you can see that big marrow in there. This is from a pretty large whale, and I have fragments of the same rib in here. Unfortunately, while the clay in the cliffs is very good at preserving fossils, it's not very good at giving them up. So a lot of times when you find something in a boulder, you try to dig it out, a lot of times the fossil will break. So these are just big pieces of things. This is another whale rib, and there's actually an age difference between these. This is actually a lot older, you can feel it's like a rock, and more well preserved than this one, which if I were to hit it, sounds a bit chalky. This is actually a pretty fragile fossil. This one is almost completely, it's as close to a rock as it's ever going to get without, you know, actually being one. These are just, this is a shell that you find a lot around there, and when you're looking for megalodon teeth, which I'll get to in a second, they all look like triangles in the water. Everyone hates these things. So when they're covered with algae and moss, they look just like a megalodon tooth. And that's what people go to the bay to find. But that's actually pretty hard to do. This is petrified wood, which is a fossilized piece of wood. I don't know how we can see this. This stuff is everywhere, but I just happen to like this piece, so I brought it home. Here's just a chunk of bone. It could be from a wrist. It's kind of hard to tell because it's just a piece. You get that a lot with big bones or any whale bones. This is cool. This is a vertebrae disc. You can see these. This is the top. This is what would sit in between the discs, and this is what would sit on top of a bone. These are if I can do this. These are 2 holes. These are the holes where the nerves and the veins and all that good stuff goes in to supply blood to the animal. And I think it's, ooh, there goes my phone. I think it's pretty cool. These things are still in here. There's a few shells. You find shells at this beach. Most of them are fragmented. You can't really take them home. And I'm not very interested in shells. I'm interested in bones. So I don't really take them home except for this. But yeah, this is mostly big bits of rib, big vertebrae, and stuff like that. So, put those back. But what people look for when they go to the Chesapeake Bay is they look for megalodon teeth. And if you don't know what a megalodon is, Google it. You'll get a bunch of like silly websites and actual good websites. It is a extinct 50-foot shark that had teeth anywhere from a couple inches to 6 inches. And this is a tooth from one. This was a gift. I didn't find this. But this is a tooth that they found at the Chesapeake Bay. And as you can see, there's my hand. It's about a 5-inch tooth. People go to the bay to find these. It's pretty hard to find them because everyone's been looking for them for God knows how long. And realistically, a lot of them are gone. If you find one in the surf, it will most likely not look that nice. And it will look something tumbled like this. This has obviously been in the water. It's been beaten up. It's not in the best shape. It's still really cool, but it's been through a lot. This is also, I didn't find this. This was a gift. The eastern United States, if you like fossils at all, it's a great place to look. New Jersey has mosasaur teeth, which is an aquatic dinosaur. You see the root in there. They have mosasaur teeth. Virginia's known for plant fossils. Maryland's known for marine life. This is something I found at the bay. This is a whale tooth. You can see some of the enamel's gone, but this is, they're hard to find, so I was really happy with this. Put that there. Okay. Anyway, to megalodon teeth that I found. Thanks to global warming and crazy storms, the cliffs are falling down much better, and most of the beautiful teeth that you'll find are in the cliffs. You get your more serrations, you get better quality teeth that aren't messed up. So in the past, I've only ever found bits and pieces of a megalodon tooth. I've been doing this for 15 years, and it took me 6 years to find one piece of one. It's kind of not a great track record. This is a tip of a tooth that would be about as big as the one in the frame over there. It's cool, but it's a very small piece. But this year, not only have I found my first megalodon teeth, I've found whole ones. I found this in the all of my teeth I found in the surf. This is a piece of one that was pretty decent. It's broken, but this was really cool to find. And I found another piece, which is cool. This is from a bigger, older tooth. You can tell where the fossils were made judged by the color they are. There was a lot of iron in the sand, so a lot of the fossils were lighter, and sometimes they're bright red, which is really cool. So this is actually from a different age than this one. This is from that blue clay, which makes everything a little bluish black. Anyway, onto that. My last trip, I found 3 whole ones, which is crazy. I've never had that happen before. So I found this one, which is pretty cool, from a smaller shark, but it's still a pretty big tooth. And I found this one, which is beautifully intact, the other day too. When you find stuff out of the cliffs, and it's hard to see on this camera, but these teeth have tiny serrations on the side. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're really, really sharp when they come out of the cliff. This one was sitting in a mudslide, and this is not a megalodon tooth. This is a great white shark tooth, an extinct kind, but this is still like crazy sharp. Like, that's hurt me a little. These sharks didn't get as big as megalodon, but they're not something I would want to meet ever. Most of the time when you go and find shark teeth at the Chesapeake Bay, you can find a lot of them. These are all teeth. Most of them are very small teeth. You know, if I can not do this with one hand, you know, a lot of them are going to be small teeth. A lot of them are still from sharks that are around today. You will find a lot of, if I can find one, well, you'll find extinct mako shark teeth. They're pretty big, they're very nice. You will find snaggletooth shark teeth. They're very sharp, but very cool. I don't know how well you can see that. You find a lot of these. These are probably the most common big tooth you'll find there. But these are bull shark teeth, and they still hang out in the bay now. They are one of the most common kinds of shark you'll find anywhere. Very successful shark. But yes, if you are willing to look, you can find some big teeth sometimes. Most of the time, you're going to find little teeth, though. It doesn't belong in there at all. I'll have to move that. Anyway, those are teeth. Put those back. Put those back. Come on, guys. Okay, other things you will find. You will also find stingray teeth. Stingray teeth. Stingrays are a few different kinds of rays that hang out at the bay. These are all bits of their teeth. They have teeth plates, and excuse me, I have a hiccup. And what they do is they grind up their food. They don't have jaws, so to speak, you know, like a shark does. They have these grinding plates. And this particular species has like a V-shaped tooth, and they have these little combs here that they use to filter out things that they don't want and to grind up stuff, and they form little V's. Like, and they're hard to find intact because they break so easy. This is a small one. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna stop this for a second so you can see. Right, so stingrays, they have these grinding plates that they use, and they form into these little V's, or a few species do. There are a couple different kinds of stingrays that hung out in the Chesapeake, and still hang out in the Chesapeake. So what you get are, let's see if here we go. You get these little V's of teeth. You get these V's of teeth, and they grind up their food, and then they swallow it when it's a nice, delicious pulp. So, a lot of times people go to the Chesapeake Bay to find big fossils, but what I find is that if you're willing to look, the little fossils are way cooler, or they're harder to spot, so they're the cool. So this is a fossilized little snail shell, which I thought was very cool. And obviously here it is with its unfossilized cousin. They hang out together, compare stories. Here's a little fish vertebrae. There was a few over there, but this one's very small. And in most cases, this will just turn into sand, turn into dust. This is another part of a grinding plate of stingray, a different kind. This is cool. We've only ever found, a friend of mine found a whole plate one of these, and they're about, where's my finger? They're about this big, and they just have rows and rows and rows of these teeth, and they just grind up their food and swallow it, which is super cool because it's just one big solid mass. But most of the time you find them little bits and pieces like this. This is a cool piece of skin. You can see the stuff going on in there, the texture. That's really hard to find. It could be from anything from a turtle to a fish. I'm not sure, but it's really cool. This is a scoot from a sturgeon. Sturgeon used to hang out in the bay before, you know, we ate them all. What else do I have here? Let's see. Here's another piece of skin type stuff. This is the texture that goes on top of a vertebrae. All these little spongy things. There's the underside of the marrow. This is cool. This is cool. This is a piece of a jawbone. A jawbone from what I think is a crocodile. You see the pegs where the teeth go. And crocodile teeth are really hard to find because, well, they weren't very common to begin with. And I don't think I have any. But I could be wrong. I have to look. This is some sort of grinding plate. Bite, bite, bite. What else? Let's look at my other goodie box. Alright, where's my other one? So, I try to keep my goodie boxes separate depending on what I have in them. So in here we have, we have porpoise teeth in here. Oh! There goes my phone. So, we have, these are cool. These are stone crab claws. These are the crab's thumbs. Because it's the strongest part of a crab, they stay preserved, they stay fossilized. And you find a lot of thumbs if you look closely. They're easy to overlook because they look a lot like shells or they look like broken teeth. These are bits of enamel from who knows what. This is probably from a shark tooth, realistically. So this is another piece of enamel from, this could be from a crocodile tooth. Realistically, it's probably from a whale tooth, but I can't tell because it's such a broken piece. And I thought this looks a bit like a finger. And this one I found when I was about 9. And I thought it was a mummified human finger, which doesn't make sense now. But imagine yourself as a 9-year-old who watched too many horror movies and found this lying on the beach. A secluded beach where no one will ever find you. So, there's that. These aren't fossils, these are just rodent teeth. Ooh, these are fun. There's a kind of shark called a 6 or 7-gilled shark. And they don't have, you know, teeth like a normal shark does. They have plates of teeth. And on those plates they have these teeth jutted on there, like almost like a jawbone, like a fish would have. So they have a bunch of these on each peg, and they bite with that. Very rarely would you ever find one fully intact because, let's face it, they break. But sometimes you find one with a few points, and they're very cool. So porpoise teeth, and dolphin teeth are pretty cool. This big, long, pointy thing, you'd think that's a tooth, right? No, that's the root. This little nub up here, that's the tooth. So someone's going along, biting you with this peg. They're really cool. These split in half a lot. So a lot of times when you find them, they're split in half. More bits of enamel from big teeth. More crab claws. This is cool. This is a very rare kind of tooth. And I don't remember the Latin name for it, but this shark had teeth much like the 7-gilled shark and pegs, but they had them in actual tooth formations. They weren't in single rows, but they were in They were like a combination between that and a tooth. And I know you can't see this very well, but this is like all sorts of points jutting out, and I think it's super cool. I think that's it from the goodie bucket. No, it's not. Also, this is really cool. This is a piece of a fossilized stingray barb. It's actually still really sharp. I must have found this on the cliff edge, but you know, the barb will be a couple inches long, and it'll be covered in these serrations, and then, you know, stingray will jab a threat with it. But I think this is super cool. You almost never find one with these little things that it's so sharp, but this is one of the better ones that I have. So I like that. So lots of ray teeth. You find more ray teeth than almost anything else because I think people just don't really know what they are. They go there to find shark teeth. These aren't actually teeth from the bay. Those are somewhere else. But I think people go there to find those, so they kind of ignore the ray teeth. I have another jar of these things hanging around. So this is cool. I found this in a boulder. Pull out my chair. I found this in a boulder. Anyway, this is a whale vertebrae that's really well intact. You can see it's got one of it's a very fragile fossil. It's really well preserved, as you can see. It's pretty heavy too. This is like 3 pounds. And it's still wet, so I'm leaving it here to dry until I can work with it. It was wonderfully preserved in the clay, but of course the clay didn't want to let it go. So it unfortunately it broke while we were unearthing it. But most of the pieces are here, so I can put it back together. So as you can see, it's got this wing. There goes my phone. It goes out like this. And you can see kind of where some of these pieces will go together. So this will go like this, and it'll form a round thing like that. But the coolest part is this thing right here. You almost never find it on there because you can see how easily this would break. So I have this perfectly broken off piece. I can't really do this with one hand, but it'll go on like this. This part, if you were to bend over and you feel those bumpies on your back, this is what this is, but for a whale. So then it's just a matter of reconstructing this piece to go here and putting all these little bits back together as best I can to try to make this work better. Once in a while you'll find a whale vertebrae, but oddly enough you don't usually just find one because they like to hang out with each other. The cliffs are really great for preserving big animals because they all stay together. It's not uncommon for the scientists at the cliffs to unearth, 4 or 5, maybe 6 small whales or porpoises each year. Most of them pretty well intact, full skeletons. Maybe missing some bits here and there, but at the end of the day, you're not going to complain about it. So, let me show you. This is one I found earlier this year. This one oddly enough, it fell on me during a mudslide kind of a thing. There are dustier parts of the cliff, and things sometimes fall down on you. Sometimes they're bones. This is another whale vertebrae. It's a bigger one than this one, obviously, from a different part of the animal. This would probably be, judging by this, I would say it would probably be closer to the neck. But I might be wrong on that. I'm pretty sure this would be closer to the neck. This would be, where your ribs would hang out. It's missing one of its wings here, and there's a scientific name for it that I can't remember right now. One of them I have in that box over there. It is, and oddly enough, this actually fell on me first. This is not as well preserved structurally as that one is, which seems odd considering this one's broken, but it's how it goes. So this one probably goes on this side. It would fit like this. As you can see, this kind of back fin area is broken, but you can still see the little nerve holes there, so that's cool. The top is pretty well preserved. I think it's still cool. It's broken, but it's cool. This is a very small, very beat up megalodon tooth that a corner broke off. So sad, but It's a perfect break, so it will go right back. And it will stab these tourists. Okay, what else? I don't know, I mean, that's kind of the thing you find. You find bones, you find teeth. These are teeth I have that are drying out that I found the other day. In their shoelaces house. These can get a little fragile if you store them with soggy areas. And a lot of them you find in the clay, so they're kind of dirty, so you gotta clean them out. These will be ready to buy tomorrow. Find some pretty big ones. This tooth. That's it. Also, you know, there are some shells that you can find there if you're into that. All the shell stuff. And if you want to do more research, if you like fossil hunting, you just don't really do anything with it, or you never get to go anywhere, you want to see where you want to go, there are lots of online sites for it. But this is a really good book I've had since I was a kid. Fossil Collecting in the Mid-Atlantic, which is where I am. Jasper Burns. These are all pencil drawings of fossils that you can generally find around here, up and down the East Coast, like here is. This is Virginia. A lot of the local fossils are kind of the same. It's very cool. This is an old book, but you know, when you're talking about old books, talking about old stuff, it's not gonna matter really. It's a very scary dinosaur there. Anyway, good book. I'd recommend it if you want to check into fossil hunting. I don't know. That's basically it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was informative and exciting or fun. I hope it was something. So that's all I got. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Bye.